Welcome, everybody. You are listening to the Black Country Business Podcast. So, today we're talking about wealth, your future, your wealth, taking ownership of your wealth, and planning, thinking about the dreams. What is actually possible if you was to step into wealth? What's your plan to get there? So, today I've brought on a special guest, Andrea Cloughley. Andrea is the go-to person when it's talking about wealth. When you want to talking about the future and your financial planning, then Andrea is the person that we need to be talking to. So Andrea is let me get this right, Andrea. You're the director of Palatine Financial Planning. You're also a part of St. James's Place Wealth Management. You're also a member of the London Institute of Banking and Finance. You're a chartered associate. Did I get all that right?
You have, Lewis. Yes, thank you.
Well, but if that doesn't tick the boxes of you were speaking to the right person, I don't know who else we can chat to. So how are you, Andrea? You okay?
Yeah, really, really well, thank you. Yeah, very, very well. Busy, which is good, and yeah, just looking forward to the Easter break and having some quality time with the family.
Great stuff. I mean, wealth. What does wealth mean to you, Andrea? For me, it means like not just the money side as well, but it's about health, family, freedom. What comes into your mind when I mention the word wealth?
Yeah, I think you're right there, Lewis. Wealth can mean many things to many people, really. But I think for many of my clients, wealth is just being on that road to financial freedom and independence, but more importantly, making sure that they have their version of financial freedom. So that's what wealth means to a lot of my clients that I deal with.
Yeah, really good. I mean, as a business coach, me and Andy have lots of clients that are on that wealth journey as well, and using the business as a vehicle to get there. So I'm really excited that you've come on today, that you can talk about the financial planning angle of it as well. So just for the listeners, the value you're going to get from this session is we're going to come up with some of Andrea's experience that she's seen in helping people out there. Of how to come across their how to reach their financial goals, and some of the mistakes they make too, Andrea, along the way. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
We'll
correct.
chat
Yeah.
about those in a while then. But first of all, the question I always ask is, what does your business do? Who are your clients that you serve, and how do you serve them?
Yeah, so what I do, my service is offering holistic financial planning advice in a variety of areas, really. But just to give you a flavour of actually what it is that we do, we help people to set goals, create financial objectives that they wish to achieve throughout their lifetime. And in terms of who I serve, really, it's anybody that's got a burning desire to achieve a particular objective, which could be being secure in their retirement, or making sure that their kids are financially secure through further education, or it could be for a business owner in particular, exit strategy, planning that exit from the business. So there's no objective that we can't assist and advise you with.
So that's really cool. So it doesn't matter if somebody's being materialistic, because a lot of people I speak to, Andrew, that they have materialistic goals and they feel a bit bad about it because they see so much on social media that they have to be like this philanthropist. I'm doing it to add this value to the world and stuff. But some people just want to turn around and go, yeah, I do want the Ferrari. Yeah, I do want the boat. And then there's people on the other side as well, not to say one or the other. Let's not think all, but and. How can I also add value to more and more people to help them on their journey too? And like you said, the family thing, leaving that legacy behind. Don't
Yeah.
often think about it, do we, when we get caught up in the day-to-day stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, you know what, the goal's the goal, and whether it's materialistic or not, it's absolutely fine. It's just knowing exactly what that goal is and what that objective is. What do you want to achieve? And well, how do you get there? And that's a large part of how I add the value for sure.
Wow. I really like that. That just keeps it at its simplest, purest form, doesn't it? What do you want? How do we get you there?
Absolutely.
That's great. I mean, that's what we do as coaches too, and you do with the financial planning side. So, value. I want to be able to
Yes.
give the listeners right now something that they're going to remember Andrea by forever. So, what sort of things would you say is the biggest value you add to your customers? What sort of mistakes do you see the customers making? Is that the right term, by the way? Clients or customers? What do you say?
I like the term clients personally, but again, it's clients, customer, that, very much of the same. But I think answering your question there, the biggest mistake that tend to find is a lot of people try and tackle their financial objectives on their own. And I think the real danger of that being is that they actually don't achieve it at all. They don't actually achieve what they set out to do. And I've seen it happen time and time again.
Wow.
And sometimes, I've experienced situations with clients whereby they've come to me for advice in terms of remedying the situation, as opposed to planning the situation, planning the objective. One quote that always resonates with me, is a goal without a plan is simply just a dream. And that's what it's about. It's about that planning piece. And if you've got the right plan in place and you're working with an advisor that you trust, because that's really important too, why take 10 years to achieve your goals when actually it could be achieved so much sooner? And it's just, as I said, it's really simply, and it doesn't have to be complex here. It's a case of, tell me what you want to achieve financially, and I will help you, and I will advise and educate you to get there. And that's as simple as what we do.
Fantastic. I mean, yeah, it's not just about money, is it? Wealth is about time as well.
Yeah,
I remember speaking to a business owner before, and I was like, "Okay, so what do you want?" And he's like, "Well, one day when I retire, I want to be when I'm 65, I want to be jumping off a boat in Italy into the nice blue, clear, tranquil waters in Italy." And I says, "And what boat do you want?" We went into details about how much the boat would cost and what we need to achieve through the business. And then I said, "Okay, here's the question: why 65?" He said, "Well, that's the retirement age. That's the social norm is 65 to do that." And I'm like, "What would it be like to jump off a boat at 55?" Well, I'd be more flexible. I'd be younger. I wouldn't have so many wrinkles. I'd look great in the photos. Okay, so why are we thinking 65 and not 55? And this goes back to what you just said there, Andrea. Why would you go and work it out over 10 years when you could do it in 1 year with somebody, an expert who's done this stuff before and learned all the stuff in between? They've made the mistakes, they've got the experience, they've seen the customers doing other stuff, clients, sorry. They've seen the mistakes the clients made on their own. So now let's put it in together into a plan
yeah.
to get you there a lot faster.
Absolutely. The plan is the key, Lewis, and that forward thinking approach, just using that example there, 65 being that golden age that many clients of mine use. Well, why can't you achieve that goal sooner? Because it absolutely can be achieved sooner if you've got the right plan in place from the get-go.
Yeah, oh, big time. You mentioned the family thing as well. We've all got different levels of time in the our CEO Brad Sugar says you've got 4,000 weeks in your life. 4,000 weeks. Most people are at 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 weeks. That's 1,000 weeks left to make stuff happen.
Yeah.
You do this next year, you've only got 950 weeks left. The year after, 900 weeks, and that's kind of, for me, that like, whoa, okay, I've got to take action fast. I need a plan.
Yeah, the clock's ticking. Absolutely. Get focused now is what I say.
Great stuff. Okay, if somebody wants to get focused, what are the first steps that you tend to take them through? Then, what are the first steps for getting engaged and putting a great plan together?
The first steps really is getting together and having what I call an exploration meeting.
Yeah.
And part of that process is I've got to understand where are you at now? What's your position? What does it look like? And once I understand that fully, then that's where the exciting part of this meeting really kicks in, because then it's starting to talk about what those goals are, what those objectives are, and putting monetary amounts and time horizons to those objectives, and we're starting to fine tune it. And once we've established what those objectives are, I then go away because I need time to analyze all of this information, and I come back then with a robust plan, and we get started. We get to work on achieving those goals and making it happen. And sometimes, you hear of previous client experiences where they've perhaps had an advisor, met with them once or twice and never seen them again. But when we're talking about life-changing goals and objectives, this is a journey that's ongoing, and a journey that I will be on with you. It has to be to make it work.
Can I ask
And
a
we
question,
see,
Andrea? Oh, sorry.
yeah,
Can I fire a question in there? And
of course.
this might put you on the spot a little bit, but I'm sure you get it all the time. Do I need money to start working with you? Do I need to be rich?
Absolutely not. No. There's definitely that perception that to sit in front of a financial advisor that you've got to have a big wad of money to begin with, but not at all. The exploration meeting that I offer is at no cost and no obligation, and typically, you've got 90 minutes of time together with me. So that doesn't cost you a thing at all. So just knowing that just means that you're able to access that initial piece of advice with no cost.
Fantastic. Well, it didn't put you on the spot at all, did you? But you're a professional in this. You see this all the time. So yeah,
Absolutely.
who I'm talking to here. Okay, great. So the next step I want to look at then is more about you as a business owner and entrepreneur. I want to talk about your business and your vision, because this is great. And just by talking to you, I can see the passion coming out of how you help people. Well, what drives Andrea? What can we share some secrets of what's got you where you are today to do this? So what got you into business in the first place, and what was your vision?
I've been in financial services now for 15 years. But what actually gave me the push to set up my own practice was down to an absolutely amazing business coaching journey that I went on over lockdown. Because, of course, lockdown for many people meant that they had to rethink their business and rethink how they do business. And that prompted me really, if I want to go out in business on my own, if I want to set up on my own, then I need to be working with a business coach. And that's exactly what I did. And it was the best decision that I made. Absolutely.
Great. Who was that coach?
That coach was you, Lewis.
I'm very honoured to see that, by the way. I saw your show notes come through 15 minutes before this call, and when I read through it, I thought that aligns to my values. So thank you for saying that. And yeah, it's been such an awesome thing to see someone's true potential in somebody, and then giving them the confidence to take them there as well. Just like what you talked about, really. What's the plan, Andrea, to get to what does this business need to look like so you can serve more people? I think was the question that I positioned to you during lockdown.
Absolutely, yeah. I think what coaching did for me, really, it gave me the tools to understand and realize that actually my goals are possible now. And there was some really hard truths in there where I had to acknowledge quite quickly that some of the fears that I thought I had were very much excuses. And it was very much around, let's look high level, the big picture. What's my why? What's my passion? Why am I doing this? And then take it right the way down. And that's levels of thinking that I've never done before in that way. So it's definitely changed who I am and how I think of things. And definitely I've got bigger beliefs now. So yeah, amazing experience.
Great stuff. Cool. So let's move on from the coaching. I'm like this about you, but I appreciate the coaching feedback there. It's fantastic. Thank you.
No problem.
So what are the biggest challenges you faced so far then? Because you mentioned the vision of what you want to achieve. Yeah, you've gone out there and you've realised that it was possible with the firm you were with, and they're still backing you, which is great.
Yeah.
So you've got the support from all different angles to move there, and you've made this decision to go out there and make this happen on your own as well as a business owner and entrepreneur. Fantastic. But what challenges are you finding along the way to get to the vision to share with other people? And the second question will be, how have you overcome them?
I think initially starting the business, I think the biggest challenge was how I offer and how I deliver a personable service. How do I conduct my exploration meetings with clients in COVID times?
Yeah.
Because what I do is very much a face-to-face approach. Your clients want to see the whites of your eyes, which is what, financial planning should be about, that face-to-face contact. And people's finances and their financial objectives are very much a sensitive subject as well. So it was just, how do I deliver a first-class proposition in a COVID compliant manner? So that really saw the introduction of the virtual meetings, the secure, online pre-meeting documents, etc. And I think for anybody that really knows me well, they know that I'm not massively into technology. I am very much a traditional pen and paper kind of person. So it was uncharted territory.
And now you're doing podcasts and taking over social media. I find that really hard to believe now.
I know I've really embraced the whole tech and social media presence now, because that is the way that business is going, isn't it? So I had to get on that bandwagon really quickly, and also for my clients, I needed to take them on that journey because a lot of them weren't used to that type of approach, but with a lot of reassurance along the way, and making them understand that this transition won't affect the high level of service that they're accustomed to. It works really well, and it's certainly something that I will continue to do if it's necessary and where appropriate going forward.
Great stuff. Is there anything else you'd like to share to the listeners? Any listeners out there that could be going through that same challenge that you had? Because we're all only human. We all go home to our families and we all have to have the same amount of time in the day. We'll have the same 24 hours. If there was any listener out there right now, what bit of advice would you give them to overcome the challenges that you faced?
I think my advice would be, we all know we're living in a new kind of world now, one that is likely to remain as it is for some time. So embrace the opportunities that are presented, and move forward with your goals without any hesitation at all. Because I think the last year has definitely taught us that we have to rethink, and in turn, change the way that we do business. We have to be adaptable. So that would definitely be my piece of advice.
Yeah, it's great. Something you mentioned earlier on as well, Andrea, is that people's mindsets that you work with. I know when it came into COVID, a lot of people was in like uncertainty of where things was going, and it led to a lot of like retraction in their levels of what's possible in the world. So what I'm thinking here is that a lot of people move towards scarcity thinking rather than abundant thinking. And I think with what you do with your financial planning, if people aren't in that place of abundance and what's possible, then that's very difficult, because you've got to change somebody's complete philosophy of the way that they see the world. And everyone's philosophy is unique and right. But the question is it unique and right to get them to where they want to get to is the challenge.
Sorry, rephrase that again, Lewis, just so I can understand what you've asked
So
me.
let's think about, if you were to sit in front of a client, and you
Yeah.
have your consultation, and then you'll suggest, okay, so what do you want? And they go, well, what I really wanted is I got into business in the first place to have more time and more freedom and more money. But right now, because of the things that are going on in the external world, that isn't possible. So I'm having to retract. You know, if you was to sit in front of somebody and say, right, we're going to put a plan together, but that plan doesn't seem possible if they're in that sort of scarcity mindset that there isn't enough resource out there. So it wasn't such a question to you, Andrew, to be honest. It was
Okay.
more of a discussion of what I find as a coach as well. You know, if someone hasn't got that vision of where they want to get to and it's possible, then it's kind of like, well, what's the black country term? Flogging a dead horse.
Yes. No, I think you're right. There's definitely I think finances and just objectives in general, you tend to go on this emotional roller coaster, don't you? And it is about managing that, and setting some real expectations in terms of, yeah, you're right. We might not be able to initially execute part of the plan as we would want to by this time, but it's just really just reassuring your client that it's still achievable, but there might be delays for the reasons that we've just discussed in terms of COVID and the impact there. So so you have to readjust and you have to review these objectives in line with the current climate that we're living in. But yeah, it's about reassurance for sure.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we've had COVID. I was around as well when the financial crisis for my business, and it really struck us hard. The regain through the NHS, because it's an NHS-based business, there was a lot of saving going on in the financial side of the NHS, and it really hit our business. And then we had to take some ownership to find out, right, okay, well, if it's not the NHS that's our biggest client anymore, who is? But without having that sort of abundance thinking of, right, okay, we're going to this goal, we're going to make it happen. I say to a lot of clients, why change the goalposts when you can change the game that you play?
Yes, absolutely.
It's just about changing the game that you're playing currently. And I love the way that you put it, finding a different path to get to that goal. If there's a roadblock in the way, what's another path to get there? Let's not move the goals out the way. Let's keep those goals there and keep them driving us forward. We just got to find a different path to get there.
Just find another way.
Absolutely. And that's what I think when it comes to you guys, it's not just talking about what you want to achieve in the next 5, 10, 20 years. It's finding the best path to get you there. Because if I've got my blinkers on looking one way, you can see it from omni different ways, multiple different ways of getting there, and you can help that client get there, can't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a large part of what we do.
Yeah. And how do you do this without learning and growth? So you're doing some coaching stuff with us at the moment, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
You want to talk about that and how it's helping you achieve that vision?
Yeah, so every month I take part in the monthly book club. And that's what I consider to be my own personal development, which is really, really key. It just gives me that time to step out of this, the space that I'm used to day in, day out, and just reflect and just recalibrate my mindset, just to make sure that my own goals, my own business goals and visions are on that right track. And I think what the monthly book club does, well, what it certainly has done is got me reading more, that's for sure. But reading something different, obviously with what I do, I read a lot of financial publications, but it's nice to read something different that really gets your mind ticking in a different way. So the last book club was brilliant. It was Simon Sinek, Why. What is your start with why. That was great, and it just gives you the nudge just to prevent you from being stagnant and becoming stale in what you do as well. So yeah, the book club, I absolutely am a massive advocate, and for me it's time that's well spent, definitely.
Yeah, it really is. The only time earn comes before learn is in the dictionary. If we're not learning, we're not growing. And if we're not growing, guess what our team's not doing as well? I mean, people listen to these podcasts, by the way, Andrea, they can range from one-man entrepreneurs, business owners, managers, team leaders, employees of all different levels, all different levels of earnings. So, yeah, if you're not learning, you're not earning.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Cool. Right. Okay. Guys, if you do want to tune in on the book club, then you can come along to the first session. It's absolutely free. You get a free book as well. It's all done over Zoom. So you just join in and we discuss the book and discuss the learnings from it. And it's a great environment too, isn't it, Andrea? I find it's really buzzing when you're in there and you hear all people talking about the success in their journey. I think it's about being a part of that environment as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. The buzz is definitely there. And what I like is just sharing those experiences and, sort of best practices as such as well, that, that we get out of it from each other, just those conversations with other people that sometimes you think you're in this particular boat on your own and you're really not. So yeah, that's what I love about book club, the way that we can sort of be brought together and talk about how we can move forward stronger and develop.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, and it's like you mentioned before. The title of this podcast is Wealth, Financial Plan, and Choosing the Right Coach for You, and that's a perfect. There's 3 coaches that are in the room for book club, all with different experience and different things that could help different people get to different goals. How many times do you say different in one sentence? I think that was a new record then. So yeah, if you want to come to that, guys, it's go to blackcountry.actioncoach.co.uk and check it out. Also, for your financial planning, how can people contact you then, Andrew, if they want to go, right, I really need to get to grips with my financial planning. I've let it slide for such a long time. I need to start thinking, right, this is what I want to achieve. I want to get there faster. What do people do? Or where can they find you?
Okay, so you can definitely find us on our website, which is www.palatinefp.co.uk. And also Palatine Financial Planning is on Facebook and also on LinkedIn as well. So definitely check us out. Come and follow us.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about environment. If you follow on Facebook and on LinkedIn, then you're going to be getting tips and advice all the time. So great learning there too.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, Andrea, thank you for coming on today. Really enjoyed talking about the financial side, and yeah, I think we should do more stuff. I think when the lockdown is over, let's do some seminars together and let's put some stuff on for our clients, your clients, my clients, and anybody else that wants to jump in the room as well. I think that'd be really cool, don't you?
Absolutely. I would be delighted to take part in that, Lewis. And thank you for having me today as well. I've really enjoyed today's podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, Andrea. And
take care.
Let us know in the comments what you thought of this week's podcast. And also look in the show notes for the links as well to all the different links we just mentioned then. Catch you all next week. See ya.